There's growing anger tonight about the Scottish Government's decision to release the Lockerbie bomber. Abdelbaset Ali al-Megrahi was the only person convicted over the 1988 attack on a US airliner which killed 270. He's received a hero's welcome on his return to Libya. The 57-year-old has terminal prostate cancer and was released from prison on compassionate grounds. Britain's unhappy with the way Megrahi has been celebrated on his homecoming, while the US, which lost the most citizens in the attack, says the decision to release him was a mistake. Europe correspondent Emma Alberici reports.
This is the image governments on both sides of the Atlantic had dreaded. Abdelbaset Ali al-Megrahi, the man responsible for the worst terrorist attack in Britain's history, given a hero's welcome in his homeland Libya. He served 8 years of a life sentence for the bombing of a New York-bound flight over Lockerbie in 1988, which killed 270 people in the air and on the ground. 3/4 of the victims were Americans returning home for Christmas.
This man murdered. He is a convicted mass murderer and terrorist, killed 270 people. Out on compassion? Compassion for him?
We have been in contact with the Scottish Government indicating that we objected to this. And we thought it was a mistake. We're now in contact with the Libyan government and want to make sure that if, in fact, this transfer has taken place, that he's not welcomed back in some way, but instead should be under house arrest.
By all accounts, the US president's request has been ignored. The son of Libya's leader, Muammar Gaddafi, accompanied al-Megrahi on his flight to freedom. He's suffering terminal prostate cancer and is said to have just 3 months to live. The Scottish Justice Secretary's decision was based on compassionate grounds.
Mr al-Megrahi now faces a sentence imposed by a higher power. It is one that no court in any jurisdiction in any land could revoke or overrule. It is terminal, final and irrevocable. He is going to die.
McCaskill is naive, I believe, and thinking that somehow this shows that they are better people for being compassionate. This shows not compassion, it shows weakness.
21 years on, memories of the bombing litter a scrapyard at Lincolnshire. The evidence against al-Megrahi was circumstantial. Fragments of his clothing found in this suitcase with the bomb. Before leaving Scotland, he again protested his innocence, but he abandoned his appeal. It's been a polarising moment for the victims' families.
I'm very pleased about this result for Megrahi's sake, and also, I think, for the sake of the relatives and the people concerned. I just hope that it would have allowed the appeal to continue.
While this was a decision of the Scottish Parliament, there are fears that it will spark a diplomatic row between the US and the UK, with some here at Westminster suggesting that a deal was done with Libya's Muammar Gaddafi in return for securing access to his country's oil fields. Relations between the UK government and Libya have improved in recent years. The business secretary is said to have even met Colonel Gaddafi's son at a Corfu villa only a fortnight ago. On a radio program in Britain, the Foreign Secretary David Miliband stopped short of condemning the decision by Scotland.
Well, obviously, the sight of a mass murderer getting a hero's welcome in Tripoli is deeply upsetting, deeply distressing, above all for the 270 families who grieve every day for the loss of their loved ones 21 years ago, but also for anyone who's got an ounce of humanity in them. And I think that that is the overriding emotion that people will be feeling today.
The families of the victims are angered by these pictures and by the fact that with al-Megrahi gone from Britain, gone too are the chances of ever finding out exactly who was behind the plot to bring down Pan Am Flight 103. Emma Alberici, Lateline.